Hey folks, this is Ardwulf. Welcome to Turn 5, Episode 5 of our simulation of the Eastern Front of World War I with When Eagles Fight from GMT. And let's get started. I've got a sort of a Mickey Mouse shot of the turn record here. We're going to advance the turn record to turn 5. Oberst becomes available to the Central Powers. The Russians get some reinforcements. The Germans get some reinforcements, and some good reinforcements at that, and then Oberst becomes available. So let us move on to the first random events phase that we will have done. Okay, so here we see the random events table, and we're on game turns 5 through 11, whereas we're on turn 5. This is actually a 2d6 roll, so let's roll it up and see what we get. That is an 8. 8 is random event E. Italians launch Isonzo offensive, I'll see so that you can see it, against the Austro-Hungarians. Treat this as no event if rolled on game turn 5. Okay, so I guess it's no event. So that can happen any number of times per game. The Austro-Hungarians are really quite hosed as it is, so they can't really afford to get mandatory withdrawals. So random event from turn 5 is kind of a bust. So let's move along to the new units and withdrawals phase. Okay, so here's our reinforcements. This turn, Austria-Hungary gets 2 replacement points, so we will pull out 2 Austro-Hungarian replacements. There'll be these 3-4-3 cores. So we got those. And then the Russians get 6 replacement points. So this time, I think, here's what's available. A lot of these really crappy units, but we have 2 of these 2-step cores. And because our rail capacity is so limited, and this turn, it is January, February of 1915, so the Russian rail capacity goes down to 4, so I can only strategic move 4 cores. So what we're going to do, I think, is take these 2 single-step units and these 2 double-step units for 6 total replacement points. So then here, and then these guys will go back in the dead pile. And that is our, well, we possibly have these 2. That's a good point. So let's actually, no, that's all we have. So we can place, well, let's actually move on to the phases in order. So we're gonna do our Russian reinforcements, replacements, and withdrawals first. Okay, so 1 Russian reinforcement is going to go into Kovno, which brings that to its stacking limit. And then the others, looking at what we have available here, it almost doesn't matter where we put them. We're going to take these 2 3-4-3 units and place them in Gomel, which is just off camera to the north. We're going to take these 2 5. Wait a minute. So let's talk about replacements, because we actually do have at least 1 Russian unit that we can actually feed a replacement point into. That unit is this guy right here. So we'll burn 1 replacement point to replenish that unit. That leaves us with 5 replacement points plus 2 leftover replacement points. So here's going to be 4. So that leaves, so we have 7 total, so there's 4, 5, 6, 7, and another one from the dead pile. So we're going to put, I'm not going to show this because I'm just dropping them wherever I can drop them. We're going to put these guys up in Kiev, and then we'll put these 2 in Minsk. Yeah, I'm satisfied with that. Okay, so that is the Russian replacements. We do not have any mandatory Russian withdrawals, so let's talk about what the Central Powers will be doing for their replacements. Okay, so because I spent them all, I am putting the Russian replacements, accumulated replacements, tracked down to 0, and the Austro-Hungarians get 2, so they can rebuy these 2 units, but they also have 4 accumulated, so they can also rebuy that and that for 4, so that will put them at 2 accumulated replacements. I'm going to put these 2 3-4-3s It's going to be off camera. I apologize for that in Vienna. So they're as close as they can reasonably be to the action. I'll place this 1, 2, 4 here in Prague, which is actually a victory hex anyway. So not a useful victory hex to the Russians right this minute, however, because they would be out of supply if they got down there. So now looking at German reinforcements, they have no replacements. They have yet to get replacements, although they have 2 coming next turn. But they also have good reinforcements coming. We've got 2 active cores, so we're going to put these guys on a rail line on the west map edge. We're going to put these guys on a rail line at the west map edge, and we're definitely going to get these guys into play this turn. So, and we have Oberost available too, which I'll just put back on the game turn from now. Obviously, I'm going to use it this turn. So let's see what we can do. In the end, we have again no mandatory withdrawals and actually no conversions. Those are these conversions of garrisons for fortresses. We don't have any of those left, I don't think. So that moves us into the strategic movement phase for the Russians. Okay, so sorry about this crappy wide-angle shot, but here's what we're going to do with the Russians. We've got a city here that we have in rail supply that we need to get these forces in here. So what we will do, we're going to use 2 Russian rail capacity to move these 2 674s into place. And then we have these guys in Gomel, which we will move into Lemberg in preparation for what I think will amount to a final push against the strongholds of the Austro-Hungarians. And we're going to see what we can do in the movement phase. That is the entire Russian strategic movement capacity. Okay, so here is our strategic movement with the Germans. We are going to do something fairly bold, I think. The Russians have left us an opening. We have 6 rail capacity to do strategic movement. And I could move guys into Krakow, but it's at its stacking limit already. And the German units are way better than these crabby Austrian units, but what can I do about that? So Austria-Hungary has a strategic rail capacity of 4, so we can actually do something with that. But let's do the Germans first, because I'll have to move the camera for Austria-Hungary. So we have these 2 German active corps. These are like the best units on the table. We're going to move them up here to Zauli. That is a bold move. And that puts that at its stacking limit. Actually, I think it doesn't. Yeah, it does, actually. That's a corps-sized unit. These guys, actually, they are on a rail line, so that's good. Let's see. Is there a town here? Nope. Is there a town in either of those? Nope. There's a town here, which we control. So we are actually going to move these up. Let's see. Could move them to Insterburg. We could move them down to help the Austrians. What we are actually going to do is move them to Warsaw. Yeah, I think so. And try and disrupt Russian supply lines with an attack down there. I won't be able to get Oberost in on that, but that's okay. Let's reposition and do what we're doing with the Austrians. Okay, so with Austria, there's not much we can do here, but we can reinforce this place right here with these 2 units. Austria has a rail capacity of 4 in 1915. We can move this. There's really not anywhere to move it. We can move that to Budapest, and we can move this to Budapest. Just because, you know what? Leave that where it is. We're going to... let me switch these 2 units, actually. I guess we can call this a strategic move, where this unit comes down here to Budapest, and this unit comes up here to Prague. Because we're actually going to go and take this city of occupy this city of Brunn to hold it against any Russian over-aggressiveness. I don't think there's much the Russians will be able to do about that, but but I don't want to take a chance, so we're gonna go for that. And we may, this is gonna have to wait until the regular Central Powers movement phase for a potential Austro-Hungarian counterattack, and we're not there yet. So let's move on to the Russian player turn. Okay, so I moved some Russian units around to the east. The only one on camera right now is this guy who was originally in Odessa and moved in. So I'm trying not to cast this huge shadow over the map and failing miserably. So what we need to do here is take a look at the factors that Austria-Hungary has here in Krakow. I count 11, 18, and 2, plus the city, plus the fortress. So, how many did I say? I have 14 here. That's 18, so that's 20 factors in defense. That's really a lot. So we are going to have to pound this really hard. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move this unit 1, take it from the Austro-Hungarians, 2, 3. So we'll remove this Austro-Hungarian marker and call this Russian controlled. And then we're going to move 1, 2, those are 2 movement point moves apiece. And then we're going to move 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And then what can we do with this guy? 1, 2 to occupy Tarnow, just to make sure nothing goofy happens with it. All right, now we have the imminent attack on this mountain pass. We're going to go with this one. Hold on, I'm going to have to move these to check out the terrain. So we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4 with this unit. And we're looking for another 6. I'm not sure there is one. There isn't. So we're going to have to move this one then. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2. See, I think it's cheesy to move from this hex into this hex without paying the mountain movement cost. I don't know if the rule reads that way, but I think that's how I'm going to play it. So I'm going to go with this unit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're getting as much juice on this as we can. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Whoops, can't get that in there. All right, and then these guys. Let's see what we can do here. We're going to move these guys as a stack, and they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. These guys, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oof. Well, they can't get any farther anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. Attacking from the mountains. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for that. We're going to keep guys in Zernowitz or whatever that's called. Lemberg appears to be. You know what? Keep this guy back in Lemberg because why not? Well, we'll take this guy out and leave him there because that's where he was. And that way there's a sort of decent defensive unit there. So we've got 2 turns basically to reduce these 2 areas, and we don't have a lot of ways to get really good odds on any of this stuff. So that is the entirety of the Russian movement against the Austrians. So let's see what they're going to do. Okay, so right now as the Russian player, my thought is, holy shit, the Germans are going to go for Riga and then to Tallinn, and then they're going to hop over to Petrograd. So we need to get something up here to block these. And movement-wise, there's not really a lot of options. And we don't really want to degrade any of these fortifications here. So what we need to do, though, is we can move these guys 1, 2, 3. Nope, they can't move there. 1, 2, 3, 4. This unit, oop. Well, that would be moving out of the city. That would provide the Germans with a victory condition scenario, which is not okay. So, the Petrograd, by the way, is a German victory condition. If the Germans take it, they win. I mean, I could be real conservative here and say, let the Germans try to do that in 2 turns and just not move, but I'm not really comfortable with that. So I think what we're going to do here is move 1, 2, 3 with this unit and this unit to oppose that force. And then we will take this guy in Ozawik and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that there. In that case, knowing that the Germans still have a lot of movement to do, let's move that there. And we'll be satisfied with that. And then that leaves these guys kind of out in the cold. These guys back here, there's no good reason to keep them back there. So we're going to move these guys 1, 2, 3. These guys can move into Minsk just to guard that against potential aggression. So this is looking a little less wide open now. The Germans would kind of have to go through this reasonably formidable stack now to pull what it looked like they were trying to pull. But that did pull defenders away from Kovno, which is also desirable for the Germans. But this is a choice between not awesome choices. So I want to say that is the entire Russian movement phase, and I am going to take a look and see if they can realistically make some attacks. And if they can, I'm going to mark them. And we'll come back. So up here in the north, the Russians are actually going to make a counterattack against the Germans. In this stack, we have a 5, a 5, and a 6. And in this stack, we have a 7, a 7, and a 2. So it's 16 to 16 for 1-to-1 odds. We're at -1 to the roll because there's a German active core. So this is a risky roll for the Russians. If they roll well on it, they could cost the Germans some significant forces that the Germans can less afford to lose than the Russians. But the Russians will probably not see their entire force eliminated either, unless they roll a 1, in which case, or really a 2. Or, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's roll it up. Okay, so that is a 2. That means 2 losses for the attacker, 1 loss for the defender. So let's see what that means. We're going to eliminate one of these, and we'll reduce this 1 step. This guy will go to the dead pile. One of the German corps will lose a step, if there are any steps available. And that's 1 step. There's 2 active corps here. I hate to lose a step out of one of them because then they lose the fact that they're active corps. So I could choose. I still have an active core in this stack, though. And this only costs me 1 attack factor. So we're going to keep that. We'll take that loss right there. So that was costly for the Russians. Not 100% sure that was a good move, considering that I guess the roll was really pretty much average. So let's zoom over to the front in Austria-Hungary and see what's going on over there. So we got 3 attacks to make here with the Russians against the Austro-Hungarians, and none of them are exceptionally attractive. Let's take a look at this one first. I think I counted this the factors in here already. I want to say there are 20 factors in here. So that's a 2, that's a 6, plus 14 is 20 factors. So I was right. What do we have on the attack? It may take a couple of turns of pounding to make this thing happen. Okay, so we have 10, 16 here. And then we have 22, 27, 33. So that is a 1-to-1 attack. I'll take it though. And we are down 2 on this die, on this roll. So we're going to subtract 2 from the result. Now, there's really plenty of Russian forces floating around here, and I can bring more forces to bear next turn. So unless this is a total disaster, and it could be, right now the Russians are trading forces for the ability to try and reduce the capability of this this city and important victory hex to remain in Austrian hands. So let's roll it up. That is a 5, reduces to 3 on a 1-to-1. Attacker loses 1 step. That is not good. So we're going to we will lose the fewest factors by reducing an existing 2-step unit. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so that did not go as well as I'd hoped. Had I at least cost the defenders 1 step, I would have been less displeased. Alright, so in this mountain pass, there's a -2 for the terrain, so we need to bear that in mind. And then we have 6, 10, 17 in defense. And we have 5 here, we have 10, we have 16, we have 22. So did I see 17 versus 22? That is a 1-to-1 attack. These are some really crappy attacks. I'll be able to get more forces in this turn, and even if I end up losing steps, I can bring more guys in. So next turn, I should say. And I do have till next turn to accomplish this. So this is actually not the worst thing, but at the same time, I'm hoping to cost the Austrians at least a couple of steps here. So we're down to 1-to-1 on that's a 0. Well, that is the attacker loses 3 steps. So I guess we're going to lose this step right here. And we're going to lose this step right here. Now in this case, the reason, and we're going to drop this unit 1 step. The reason I pulled those guys out is because they can be pulled out and replaced by actual full-strength cores. And we have 1 more attack here. Let's see what we can do. Austrians are hanging on by their fingernails here. We have 18 in defense, and we have 5, 11, 16, 22 in attack. That is another 1-to-1, but this is not in a mountain hex. This is a straight up, this is a straight up roll. Austrians should have tried to pull forward into that mountain hex, actually. 1-to-1 straight up. That's a 5. Whew. 1 loss for the defender. Okay. These are all 1-step units, so 1 unit comes off. That's that. So that's something. Alright, so 3 big battles laying siege to Austro-Hungarian positions, and we didn't get very far. Looking quickly at supply, everybody can trace a supply line 4 hexes to 1 of these, so we can go even from here 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're good everywhere for supply for the Russians. Looking up on the north, also not a problem. Everybody can trace supply. So let's move to the Central Powers player turn. Okay, the first thing that the Germans have to do in their combat phase is place Oberost. So we're going to put it here. And this stack is not going to move anyway. So that is okay. However, a lot of other stuff is going to move. For one thing, we are going to send these 2 units to lay siege to Ivangorod. We are going to push these units. Let's see what we're going to do here. We have 8 factors in that hex. There's a fortress there. So we're going to move this 1, 2 right there. We're going to move this active core 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. We're going to move this group here. No. Are they here? Yes. They're going to go here. Fortresses are not subject to concentric assault, so we're not going to do that. We're going to go here. I keep forgetting about that. We're going to go here instead. We'll move this. We don't really want to leave that totally undefended. Be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Move these guys here. These are all fortresses, though. Anything else we can do? We have 2 guys down in loads that we could potentially move. And we will. We'll actually move them up to hit Ivangorod as well. Okay, that appears to be the entirety of the German combat, the German phase. Let's think about. I'm going to cut here, and we'll think about what we can do for counterattack, because I think there actually are some things we can do. And actually, I've got that. You can actually see this. I'm going to actually move this unit here as well, and then we'll move these guys. It's just off camera into Brunn to block that from the Russians, and that gives us a little bit better leverage on a potential counterattack. So let me look at some odds and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I've decided I'm not going to make a counterattack with the Austro-Hungarians right now. I don't think they can afford it. Attacking is very costly in this game, and I don't feel like it's worth the trouble. So we do have this fortress in Osijek. So let's take a look at what we can bring to bear on that. We have 1, 2, 3 units, including an active core, and that's going to be 14 factors. That's going to be a 7-1, -1 for the fortress. Check terrain here. I think there's terrain. Nope. There's a river. River is -1, so down 1 for the fortress. Down 1 for the river, but up 1 for the active core, and we have a 7-1 for every odds increment over 5-1. We get a +1, so that's -1, 0, +1 on the roll. So let's see what we get. Pull out the black die, and we have a 7. On the 5-1, that is a breakthrough and extermination. So, boom. This unit goes to the dead pile and obviously can't be rebuilt. And I can break through. And that is a potentially very big deal because I have Oberst in place here. So I have to move here first. So we'll move here. And then, whoops. We'll move these guys here. And then here, and then trying to manage the shadow here as best I can. All these are going to be eligible for Oberst. I can move up farther. So we hit this. So we went in 1, 2, 3. No, I can't. I can't really push any harder than that. I could push to this stack, which, let's see what we got here. Another fortress and another 13 factors. That's a pretty tough location. So So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this stack back in Osawik, but I will exploit with this bunch right here. And I think we'll put... not the active core. We'll put this here. Now, all of these get... well, yeah, actually, all of these... okay. So let's push... well, 1, 2... So yeah, that's totally legal breakthrough move. Yep, I can live with that. Okay, now we have what we're going to do up here against Kovno. Kovno is important. Now, there's a fortress there, plus it's a city, so that's 2, -2 right there. There are... German active cores, but I'm pretty sure you only get a +1, the +1 once. So we have an 8 in defense, and we have a 2, 7, and 6 is 13. That's a 19. That's a 23. That was one of the exploiting units, so we can't actually attack with that. 23 plus 5 is 28, plus another 5 is 33, plus another 5 is 38. So we have 38 factors hitting this. And the total roll is going to be at -1. Is there a river or any other? Well, there's a city. So it's just the city. And Oberost goes here. So you have 38 to 8, right? Yeah, 38 to 8. It's 4 to 1, down 1. Trying to find a place I can put this without disrupting the game. That is a 5 on the 4 to 1. That is attacker takes 1 step, the defender is eliminated. So that blows these guys away. Attacker will take 1 step. This guy's probably a 1-step unit. We're going to take the cav step, actually, because that costs us the smallest number of factors. And then we're going to exploit after combat. This is not a breakthrough, though. With that stack, keeping Oberost where it is, we'll put the cavalry away. And that's it for the German regular combat phase. But now we have Oberost. So let's keep in mind that its range is 2 hexes. So we can attack again with anything we want here. So I don't really see another thing to attack other than this fortress here, which is going to be this stack and this stack. So that's going to be 4, 6 is 10, is 14 to 1 in a woods. So down 1 in a fortress, down 2, but German active core. So up 1, so -1. And what did I say? That's 14 to 1. That's a total of, it's at -1. 14 to 1 is 9 up. So I actually get a +9, so I can basically overrun this. Not what it's called, but I'm basically overrunning this fortress. So even at the +1, I'm at a +8 actually. So I'm rolling a 9 on the 4 to 1. It's a breakthrough plus exterminate. So boom, defender eliminated. Now we can break through. And let me mark that hex. We can exploit we can break through not only with the hexes that attacked these two, but with hexes that were adjacent to them as well. So we can move all these guys around if we want to. So these 2 hexes can move up, and it would be foolish of me not to do that. So I'm going to move this up 1, and this will go up 1 and over 1. This will go up 1 and over 1. These guys can exploit 2 hexes, so we'll move this over 1 there. Yeah, this space was vacated, so there's 1 there. There's 1 there. And there's 1 there. And we needed to move something else into Kovno. I guess we'll just leave one behind. That is a victory city, by the way. So the next time we make the Does the Tsar Fall roll, we have 3 Russian victory cities, or Russian-Polish victory cities now. Warsaw, Lodz, and Kovno. So there will be a +3 to the roll. Or is that a -3? I think it's a +3, which is significant, actually. The Russian Revolution roll is an 8 next turn. So we're kind of reliant again on the Austro-Hungarians to hold out, which they actually did very well this turn. So I can't really complain. Things are looking pretty bad for the Russians, and if the Russians can't force an Austro-Hungarian collapse in turn 6, then they're gonna be in for a long and very ugly war here. So that is the end of the Central Powers player turn. We do not make a victory check once again. Let's check for attrition. Everybody should be fine. I am fairly confident that's correct. Oh, we forgot something. Actually, we forgot Ivangorod. We have a fortress in Ivangorod. Okay. And we have 8, and 10 is 18 to 2. That's 9 to 1. Down 1 for the fortress, and then down 1 for a river. So 9 to 1, down 2. But we're 4 above, 5 to 1, so we're up 2. So let us make the roll here. At 5 to 1. Oh, that's a 3 at 5 to 1. That is a 0 losses for the attacker, 2 losses for the defender. So the fortress goes away. We put a German control marker in Ivangorod, and we'll advance these guys. And that is the conclusion of the Central Powers turn. So, thanks for watching. Please tune in for turn 6, when we will see if either the Central Powers or the Russians can force an end to the Great War in the East. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.